friends, I'm back, here again. Yeah, so sorry about that last video and just like the fact, well, no, not sorry, but like I was being really quiet and whispering because, well, it was like 10 o'clock and people were sleeping and I was really trying not to wake up my child or my husband, who was also sleeping and had norovirus. I was, trying to be courteous. But my brother said, it sounds like your videos, like you're trying to do ASMR, which hate that. Definitely not a fan of ASMR. So wasn't trying to do that. Yeah, so I am back because I want to go through my yarn, the yarn that I have, and kind of assign projects to it and see like what I have, just kind of remind myself at the beginning of the year, and then work towards using that in projects. So without further ado, I'm just going to start grabbing stuff. Okay, so first I have this, which is sock yarn. One of the things that I want to do this year is knit socks for my husband that actually fit. And I tried doing that with some of this patent core sock yarn previously, but it was like they would have been really, really short, and because I only had 2 balls of the yarn, and so I got a third. So yeah, me and my son were having a great time just like running around Michael's. He was exploring. It was a good time. But yeah, so we got this one. Then I also got this one, because I want to get better about knitting socks this year. I want to get faster at it. I want to get better at sizing and just all of the above, try different patterns, etc. Yeah, so, which I really think this is a cool color. If there's extra, I might knit some matching ones for my little boy. Okay. On to the next. I'm gonna make a mess. I'm just like throwing stuff on the floor. So I keep all my yarn in these like bins from Costco. Thanks, Costco. Okay, so I have this yarn, which this is Cascade 220, in their fingering weight. And I have 5 hanks of that. Yes, 5. And my goal is to hold this double, and I'm going to knit a shawl for my mom. And so that is what this yarn will be. And that is one of my projects that I really want to make this year. And I'll probably cast this on in February. I was going to try and cast this on really soon, but there's a lot going on in January, and I kind of want to cast on something for myself. But we will get to that. Okay. I'm just gonna set this here. Next is this yarn, which this is, I've never bought like yarn before this. I had never bought yarn that had been like hand dyed or that was from, I guess hand dyed. And this is from Coast to Coast Yarn Co., which I've been following her. I believe her name is Erin. I've been following her on Instagram for a long time, and she did this collection that was based off of quilts that people submitted, like photos of quilts. And this purple color is so pretty. And so one of these is a fingering weight base, and one of them is a DK weight. And I don't know what I'm gonna do with these yet, but probably socks and probably a hat is my guess, but TBD. I'm not planning on using this anytime soon. I'm kind of saving it because it's special. I bought this yarn for my birthday this year. Yeah, so no concrete plans for this one yet. So this yarn I've had for a long time. This is yarn made from baby llama fiber. And it is the softest, squishiest. You can't see this at all. I feel like it's super blown out. Oh, that actually helped. Okay. It's really, it kind of blends into the wall right now, but it's gorgeous. And I knit some gloves for my grandma for Christmas this year. I can insert a little clip of what those looked like. They're the Hydra Mitts by Fiber Tales, which was such a cool pattern, and it was cables, but it wasn't like overwhelming cables, or like, yeah, I really enjoyed it. And then you make the braids going up the side, and I loved it. Great pattern. So I knit 2 pairs out of this tiny little ball of yarn, and I'm sure I was not on the correct gauge, but it worked, and they turned out really cute in my opinion. So I'm gonna make myself some matching ones so me and my grandma can match next time I see her. Next, this was kind of not an impulse buy, but I also used some birthday money to get this yarn because I've heard about it and and it was on sale at my local yarn store. So it was like 40% off per skein. So I got this, which is Scout by Kelborn Woolens, in this like bright, fun green, and it kind of has like a turquoisey color too. Gosh, it is really hard to get this to like show up in the correct color on camera, but I hope you can kind of see that. Yeah, and so this is like a DK sport weight, I think. Yeah, no concrete plans for this yet, but I felt like it would be kind of nice in like a vest or as part of another project, maybe it's like the striped pipe sweater, or I don't know. It's kind of just like one of those yarns that I'm keeping in my back pocket for a project when I get inspired. And the last in this bucket is this yarn, which is really pretty purple. I kind of am like into purple right now, I guess. So this is the Lore yarn by the Fiber Co. And it's 100% Kent lamb's wool. Most of this yarn, I think all of this yarn except the llama, the baby llama yarn, is all just 100% wool. But yeah, I knit with this last year. I knit hats for my brother, my dad, and my nephew to all match. And it does feel kind of dry and not scratchy. It's just like it feels dry and not like super slippery or soft or anything. It's got some grit. I don't know. But when you wash it and block it, it really just kind of transforms and it gets really soft. And I really enjoyed working with it. And this was also like, I think this one was 30% off or maybe 40, but so I went ahead and got it, and I think I might make a vest out of this as well, because I want to try and make more vests this year, like for layering, and I think they would knit up quickly, and I might be able to get wear out of them before it gets warm again. Yeah, so that is all that's in this bucket. Just quickly stick this back in here so that it's not. Next up, so yeah, what's in here? Not actually certain. Okay, so off the top, this is Hobby Divina, which is like totally just coming apart. So I ordered this to make my sweater number 14 by My Favorite Things Knitwear, which is a project I made last year, or maybe at the end of 2023. And I really like it. It's really soft and drapey, almost too drapey. There's not a lot of structure. Also, I think I would have, for that whole project, sweater number 14, I would have gone down. I should have gone down a needle size. I'm at gauge, but the fabric it made was just so, like, it has no structure. It's just, like, hanging, like, it's almost too drapey for a sweater. Like, I wanted it to be a little sturdier. It's so soft, though. Like, you can't beat that. But, yeah. And that is baby alpaca, 20% polyamide, 10% merino wool. So it's mostly alpaca. And so I might use this, like, the scraps of this to, like, put it in, like, a scrappy Berlin scarf. I'm currently knitting a Berlin scarf, and I think I'm going to have leftover yarn from that. So I might try and, like, make, like, a striped Berlin scarf. I don't know. But that's not anytime soon, but I still have it. It's here. Okay, moving on. I have this Cascade Yarn Specific, which I got this, I got this at a yarn swap at my library, which was so fun, that they did that. And this is 60% acrylic, 40% superwash merino wool. And I think I'm going to use this as a gift knit, to knit maybe, like, headbands or hats for my mother-in-law or my sister-in-law. I don't know yet. But that's there. It's a really pretty color. This is a fun sock yarn. It's the Regia sock yarn, and I think this is the Arne and Carlos. Yeah, it is Arne and Carlos, like, one of their colorways. It must have been a collab that they did. Gosh, you cannot see the label at all. Oh well, you can see the fun colors on the yarn though, hopefully. So that's gonna make fun socks. I kind of want to cast those on in February as, like, Valentine's Day socks. And shout out to Arne and Carlos because they taught me how to Norwegian purl, and that has saved my wrists. And yeah, it's amazing. If you haven't tried to Norwegian purl, I highly suggest to just try it and see if you like it, because I love it. Now I don't have to bring my yarn to the front every time I have to purl. It's awesome. Okay. This is Cascade 220, and it's just this purple. I also got this at that yarn swap. Again, really liking purples. Maybe I'll have to do, like, a purple project, and combine some of the purple yarns. Really pretty. Okay. And then I also got this white Cascade 220 there. So I'll definitely be using this. It's, like, glowing. Angelic music. Yeah, so some white yarn. Okay, so this, I have 3 balls left over. I have this left over from my last knitting project, which was the Rivendell pullover by Sari Nordland. And I knitted it in this just heathery gray color. I guess it's not really that heathery. It's kind of just like a medium gray. And this is Valley Yarns Northampton. And I really like this yarn. It's kind of pilling, like, a tiny bit on my sweater, but it's just, like, really soft and, like, bouncy, and it looked really good in the cables. So, yeah, I'll definitely be using this in some kind of project. It's a nice DK weight. It's great. Yeah, so excited to use the rest of that up. Okay, last bin, and this will be short because it's mostly just one yarn. Oh, I have 4 balls of the gray. I didn't realize. That's like enough to knit a full sweater, I think. Almost. Well, maybe I'll have to just knit another gray sweater. Okay, so the next one is this yarn, which this is the yarn that I want to use to cast on my next project with. This is, again, Valley Yarn. Oh, it's upside down. Valley Yarns Northampton. And it's just this really pretty brown, like, chocolatey color that I am super excited to knit with. And if you watched my last video, then you probably heard me waffling around on what sweater I was going to make next. I think I've settled on the Amy sweater by Petite Knit. I've never knit one of her patterns before. So I just want to try. I think the Amy sweater in this like dark chocolatey brown would be so pretty. And I think that's kind of like the project that my brain needs, is like something that I can knit quickly, that's not going to be too complex. Maybe it's going to be complex and I just don't even realize, but we'll see. Anyway, so yeah, this is what I want to knit my next project in. Yeah, and that is pretty much all of my yarn that's in my stash, at least in the buckets. I have some other random yarn lying around that is mostly just like cotton or acrylic in like little bits and pieces that I use to kind of make gift knits with, or random little things, or have leftover scraps basically. Yeah, so that is all of my yarn and stash. I feel like it's not a huge collection, but it's definitely something that I want to work through before I order more yarn. And I do really want to order more yarn, especially because there's all these sales going on right now, and I have to I'll add stuff to my cart and then, close the tab because I'm like, I don't need to buy this right now. Like, there's going to be other sales on yarn. Like, I don't need to spend this money when I have all of this that I can be using to make with. Show progress on my sock. I'm almost ready to cast this guy off, which I'm so excited. It's been a fun project. I knit a lot on it on my on this last weekend, which was interesting. I hope your first weekend of 2025 went maybe a little better than ours did. We, as a family, went to the beach. We try to go every year with some family and some friends that we don't get to see often, so we wanted to we try to all meet up at least once a year, and we just play board games, hang out inside, eat, make food, and just have a good time together. So this weekend we went and we found this beautiful house on Air BnB, and it looked gorgeous. Like, the photos that they posted were just it was like a photo shoot someone had done. And so it was a lot of pictures of not relevant pictures, on the beach, right out front of the house. And so there was kind of a thought in the back of my mind. I was like, we don't even really know what the bathrooms look like, or we don't really know what the house, a lot of the house looks like, because it's just in little picturesque snapshots. It's not the real estate looking photography that you see in a lot of Airbnbs. But it had really good reviews, and so we went ahead and booked it. And then we got there, and immediately we ran outside to the beach with the kids, and we were running around having a great time. We came back in, unloaded the car because it was getting dark. And so we're all setting things up, getting settled in the house, and my brother-in-law was like, the carpet's kind of dirty, I'm gonna vacuum. And he started vacuuming, and oh my gosh, the carpet was so dirty. There was he dumped out the vacuum beforehand, and he filled it up pretty well, just with vacuuming one floor. Like, and we were all kind of like, that's pretty gross. Like, definitely nobody vacuumed before we came. So that kind of leaves like a gross feeling in your stomach, right? And then the last people to arrive came and we cooked dinner and, had a good time. And I don't remember when, but we kind of were going in and out of the sliding glass door, and someone noticed like, oh, the carpet's kind of coming up right here. And oh yeah, the floor kind of feels a little squishy by the sliding glass door. And my brother-in-law like pulled the carpet back and he was like, oh my gosh, like the floor is rotting out and there's black mold. And we were like, and then like after dinner, we were just like, oh gross, like that's like in the living room, like in the main like hangout space. And so we were kind of playing games and like hanging out like on the couches and stuff, and then we like put the kids to bed and we were still hanging out and noticed, oh, there's like I was kind of getting a little bit of a headache, and I was like, yeah, I think it's because of the smell. Like, at first it just kind of smelled musty, and then there was just this like really sweet, like overly perfumey smell throughout the whole house. And it just smelled like when you spray like a ton of Febreze to like cover up another smell, basically. And I'm like, that's not great. It just smells like old and musty, and that's not the worst. Like, but like as we continued to stay there, it was just like it was just like hard to breathe almost, like, and everyone started feeling sick. And then the second day, like it got really, really rainy, and we just were playing games inside, and we kind of lit a fire, and that kind of helped get the smell out and I think absorb up some of the moisture in the house. And so we're playing games and then look up and like, oh, okay, there's water coming down the wall from like the wall of the fireplace down, just like trickling down, and like it was a rock wall fireplace, and we just see like the rocks getting wet, and we were just like, great, awesome, yay. Another thing. It just was like more and more things were like getting revealed, and like it got to the point where we were all feeling so like not good, like kind of nauseous, kind of headachy. We're like, my husband and I were like, should we stay here? Like, should we just go home? Which we didn't want to do because we were having a great time with our friends. We were like playing games, and like it's so good to see them and hang out and spend time together, and all the kids are hanging out and playing. In hindsight, we should have just left. Sorry. Velma, come here. Get down. Please don't knock my camera over. Anyway, so yeah, we should have just left. But we were just having such a good time hanging out and playing, and yeah, I just like the air quality in the house was so bad. Like, I really don't want other people to stay there and like have the same experience we had. So I don't really know what to do about that. Like, I feel like I should leave a review that's like a warning almost. Like, don't stay here. There's like literally black mold under the carpets and a bunch of water damage, and the attic's probably a mess, like there's water coming through the ceiling. But yeah, so don't really know what to do about that. But I mean, it was good to see our friends. But we left like at the crack of dawn in the morning. We were like, oh, sorry, McFlurry's back. He likes to be on camera, I guess. Anyway, just to wrap all that up, a fun story time for this weekend. But since my son was waking up at 5 a.m. every morning, I did get a lot of knitting done, which was great. So I made a lot of progress on my socks, and I'm excited to cast this one off. I'll probably cast it off tonight. Oh my gosh, my cats are fighting. They're literally, one is behind the camera, one is in front of the camera, and they are hissing at each other. You guys, Come here. Please get down. Come on. Come here, Vilma. Come here. Oh, okay. That's okay. Love it. I don't even know what I'm saying. Oh, probably gonna cast it off tonight. Yay! And then cast the other one on so I don't get second sock syndrome. I'm gonna finish these, and it's gonna be great. I need more wool socks because my first pair of wool socks that I ever knit, I used them so much, the ankle, like the heels of the sock is like completely gone. And the yarn for that was not great. It was like 100% wool and it was Malbrigo, which is a really soft, kind of delicate feeling sock yarn, which was a dream to wear, but did not last very long, I have to say. Yeah, McFlurry, come here. Okay, just a second. Anyway, well, thank you for hanging out and hearing about my yarn. I really like videos where people show the yarn that they have in their stash because I like to snoop and I like to know what they've got and, hear about different yarn. So I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, I'm hoping to make, I'll be back making like a recap of my January making, and hopefully pretty soon. Thanks for watching. I hope you are able to make time to do some knitting, do some making, and yeah, until next time.